Hi everyone, this is Revealing Light Tarot, and I thought I would read on. There's been a lot of questions coming forward about Kavanaugh. As you know, I've already done 2 readings. They have both shown that his nomination would either be suspended or that in some way withdrawn, or if it did get through, he could face judicial impeachment. My strongest feeling, I guess, was that in some way the nomination wouldn't proceed. So we have a situation, as you all know, where Christine Ford, a professor teaching at a California university, has come forward and said that Kavanaugh has, or alleged Kavanaugh had sexually assaulted her when they were both teenagers. The assault was probably... it was striking in that there was violence attached to it, which was a little bit of a concern. That allegation obviously was a concern. But more so, Kavanaugh outright denied it. Now, as we know, he's already, there are some, questions around whether or not he perjured himself in 2005 and 6. He's really backed himself into a corner now that if this were to go forward to full investigation in some way, and Senator Feinstein's passed that on to the FBI to assess whether or not it needs to be investigated or for investigation, he's actually lied. And if it was proven to be true, then of course we have confirmation that the Donald Trump's Supreme Court pick is a liar. Now, I'm not familiar with the American courts in that I've not been before a court in America, but I'm certainly familiar with Australian courts and Australian law and the way the law works and the way the judges are held to, in very high esteem and have to really have an unblemished record. Because if you're judging other people, then, you really, can't, you have to be so impeccable, your record has to be so impeccable that, you can't be brought down because of a blemish record. So I'm assuming that that's the case for the Scotus on the Supreme Court in America. So it's to go. There's been quite remarkable turnarounds, I think, over the last 48 to 72 hours. We have the Republicans taking a very subdued tone at the moment by saying that yes, Christine Ford deserves to be heard, and we've got outliers like Sean Spicer coming out and saying we need to hear Christine Ford, and we've got the Kellyanne Conway. Not that we would take too much notice of anything she says. But at least she's representing an official White House position, which is that Professor Ford needs to come forward and be heard. Now, the Republicans that are hedging and are uncertain, are actually lobbying or actively, publicly coming out and saying we want this woman to be heard, are members of the Judicial Committee. And the Republicans on that are Senator Corker and Senator Flake. And we also have Lisa Collins and I think, Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski have also said they want to hear the allegations against Kavanaugh. So Mitch McConnell, of course, has said we need to hear from this woman. To me, that's a stark contrast. They have been defending Donald Trump, who is a known womanizer, a known philanderer, a known, he's known for his affairs, and also we know what he said in the 2016 campaign. All of that has been brushed aside as Republicans don't even consider don't even consider that. They don't give it any time. But this is different. So we have to ask ourselves, why is it different? And I know this is a long preamble before the reading, but I'll get to it. When I thought about when I asked the question, what are the senators what are they thinking about the Kavanaugh nomination now? I very much got that they're concerned for their political futures. They're hedging their bets. They have the midterms in sight. They know that an out-and-out steamrolling and not listening or not giving Professor Ford the time to be heard on such a serious matter would be out-and-out tyranny, and that just can't, that won't be tolerated. So they're hedging their bets. And they're also concerned about process and not opening up the nomination process for judicial impeachment down the line when they lose control. There are a whole lot of considerations they're all making at the moment, including Senator Jeff Flake and Senator Corker. Not so much Corker, but Flake and I guess Ben Sass to a certain degree. They're actually, Senator Flake has actually got his eye on the longer term, because if Trump goes, which is what the cards are saying, if the Republicans suffer a crushing defeat, someone will have to rebuild the Republican Party. Someone will have to be nominate for president in 2020. So there's a lot of political considerations that are being factored in at this moment with the Kavanaugh nomination. So let's see the question that I asked. The Queen of Pentacles just fell out, and that's a very resourceful woman connected with money. I'm not sure who that is, but we'll see if that card comes up. The question that I wanted to ask was, what are the senators thinking about the Kavanaugh nomination? What is going to be uppermost in their minds when they vote on the Kavanaugh nomination, assuming that it will be brought forward by the Judicial Committee after the hearing from Professor Ford and Kavanaugh on these very, very serious allegations. Okay, what is uppermost in the senators' minds as we go into the Kavanaugh nomination? I'm thinking the Republican senators, but we'll say the senators' minds regarding the Kavanaugh nomination, and how are they likely to vote? Let's see. Okay, so our first card is the Moon, and of course that is all things clandestine and secrets being revealed. So this I think represents that Professor Ford and Kavanaugh both will appear before the Senate Judiciary Committee on this Monday, and I think this is what this represents, but also unseen problems. And it's also pointing to voluntary changes as well. So, this is, I think, again, this is reflecting the whole process. Certain Republicans and Democrats have stood their ground and said, no, we need, before this nomination can proceed, we need to hear from the alleged victim. And, if you go back a year and a half ago, as I said, they didn't even want to give Trump the Trump allegations of sexual, philandering and and extramarital affairs. They couldn't have cared less about them. But this is different now, and it is the political consideration that all of them are thinking about. So secrets to be revealed and unseen problems. The Ace of Rods, of course, is obviously new projects and new inspiration. So it seems to me that that card could reflect the clandestine negotiations that are occurring behind the scenes. And when I started this reading, I saw that it was all about strategy because of the midterms and because of the current political climate. Their strategies are not. They're constantly changing, not constantly changing, but they're evolving as they assess the public mood. And again, also for the Democrats as well, their strategies are evolving, and they're inspired as well. That this they need to really, really, be vigilant about this nomination. Okay, all right. The Seven of Swords in the future position looks like it's self-defense and battling and having to protect oneself. I would see that relating to Kavanaugh and the Republicans, that they're going to have to be in self-defense mode. Because they've brought this nomination forward, there are these allegations around it, so they're very much going to be in that self-defense mode. Okay, so what has caused this? The Five of Cups. This, I think, is about the past. This is about what has occurred in the past. This is the actual situation, the sexual assault allegation. This has led to this situation, and I sense that there's certainly regret around it, because this card indicates regret and loss. I think that's regret on the part of the Republicans, regret that this has come out, and I think it's regret on Kavanaugh's part as well, that his nomination has been, derailed by this. I'm not sure whether he's regretting the actual action, if it did occur. It could be also Professor Ford is... she would be having some, while she'd be committed to the cause, she may also, she didn't want to be publicly identified. So this public Senate judiciary hearing is going to be very hard on her. So she may well be having some regrets as well. Some of the Republicans, may well be regretting handing their party over to someone like Donald Trump in the first place, and the damage that this has caused. The Emperor in the future outcome is about, well, it's the authoritarian figure, it's the father figure, and it could represent courts, it could represent the Senate. It could be saying that it will go to the Senate for a vote. So the nomination could go forward at least to the Senate, to the full Senate, for the vote. I think we need to see what's going to happen. We need to deepen the reading a little bit. Okay, so let's have a look at how the vote might be. Okay, there's the Sun is the joy, the card of a joyous outcome. And what that is saying, I think, is that there will be there will be enough Republicans that will not want to vote after this public hearing, regardless of the denials by Kavanaugh. There will be enough Republicans who won't want to take the chance and vote Kavanaugh in as a SCOTUS. They just won't do it. So it appears that there will be enough there to say no. And it could also be that the Senate Judiciary Committee says, no, we don't want to bring this nomination forward. It's under a cloud. We simply cannot proceed with it. The fact that they're saying that they want to hear from Christine Ford is enough to let me know that they've already respectfully given Professor Ford an opportunity to speak out. They don't want to suppress her voice, which means if they've done that in this way for whatever political gains, then that means whatever she's got to say, the public will judge that. And it could be, because their strategies are ever evolving depending on the public mood with the midterms in sight. It could be that there is such public uproar when that public hearing on Monday takes place that they get to a point where they go, our strategy to push this through is not going to work. It's just not going to work. I might, okay. Well, let's see what secrets. We've got the moon in that past position. What secrets? Some people have asked if any other women will come forward. So let's just have a look and see if any more secrets will be revealed. If Kavanaugh has is this a one-off thing with a young Kavanaugh as the teenager, or is this a pattern of behaviour that may well be revealed, that may be more secrets coming forward? Let's see. Thank God for the 250 women that came forward and said that Professor Ford is an exemplary character. They can't malign her character. Okay, are there going to be any other women stepping forward? Okay, the Four of Cups. Something is being presented to this person here. But this is also, it's also about unexpected things coming forward as well, or could mean, in this instance, unexpected things coming forward. And this card is being about unfulfilled. So this could be that the Kavanaugh nomination will be unfulfilled, that there could be more secrets coming forward. Okay. And we'll just clarify the Seven of Swords, which of course is that they're having to protect themselves. They're having to defend Kavanaugh. Okay. Right. So we'll just clarify that. Or they're having to protect Trump, which is, because he's a known womanizer and he's put up a nominee that has actually allegedly sexually abused someone. The two going together is like, wow, whichever way you spin it, and they're trying to spin it, they're trying to defend themselves, the Republicans, and trying to defend Trump's pick, and they're really trying to defend the indefensible. So, is their strategy, their self-defence strategy around Kavanaugh going to work? Is it going to hold water? Because my feeling is it won't. And it's just, okay. This is what jumped out. They're foolish. They're foolish to think that this will work. It definitely won't. This is mirroring the seven of swords, which is the self, having to protect oneself and self-defense. They're trying to protect Kavanaugh, and they're trying to protect Trump's nomination pick. They are fools. It's not going to hold water at all. The other card that jumped out was the High Priestess, and this is very much Professor Ford. She is sitting here, and she is reflective and contemplative. She is a very credible person that has made a very serious allegation against Brett Kavanaugh, and she will be heard, and what she has to say will carry a great weight, and that will make any Republican who may be trying to bring Kavanaugh's nomination forward or voting look like fools. So from that reading, I mean, as I said, I've done 2 readings now, and they have both said that there's that the Kavanaugh nomination won't go forward. If it will, it somehow could be suspended, or if it did, he could face impeachment. I don't think it's... the judiciary may decide not to bring it forward. They might call it quits, enough's enough. Or, they may bring it to the full Senate, and the Senate, it won't pass in the Senate. And right now, this is what they're going to be looking like if they press too hard, if they push too hard with this. The Republicans are going to be looking like this. Okay, that's the reading on what's going through the Republicans' minds in relation to the Kavanaugh nomination. Thank you.